Okay, so I just finished editing this entire fucking video and I just realized that I had my overlay on from streaming. So just do me a favor before you continue. Ignore all the shit that's up top and in the corners. Got it? Awesome. Thanks. Hello, my name's Kaylee. This is my We Happy Few review. I hope you enjoy. That was really dumb. So We Happy Few is a game that just came out in August. It came out August 10th. It's a game that's been in development for about 4 years now, and I've actually been following it. I played it on and off when they had a few updates here and there. This game is $60 on Steam, I believe. If you did get it for early access when it was able to be purchased during early access, it was $15. And if you had the game before it was fully released, you were able to keep it for $15. So you didn't have to pay the full $60, which is pretty cool. I liked that a lot. We're gonna talk about later whether I think it's worth $60 or not. I'm gonna try to do this review with as little spoilers as possible, just in case you haven't played this game yet, which I totally understand, but if you are considering buying the game and you wanna know other people's opinions about it, I don't wanna spoil it for you. So We Happy Few has 3 acts where you play as 3 different characters. You play as Arthur Hastings in the first act, you play as Sally Boyle in the second act, and Ollie Starkley in the third act. They all kind of like coincide with each other. They all have their own kind of stories, but they all kind of connect in the end. So this whole game is based in a town called Wellington Wells, where there's tons of people who live in separate areas. And one of the areas is where there are a lot of rich people and really happy people who take this pill called joy, which makes them happy all the time and never sad. So in other areas, there are people who are called downers who didn't take their joy, or the joy didn't work with them and there were side effects and they got turned into a different area where the downers, people who didn't take joy or couldn't take joy. So Arthur is a writer for one of the companies in Wellington Wells. He just writes on events and stuff, and the game starts off with Arthur, and I won't spoil it for you just in case you haven't played it, but it starts off with Arthur. The first act was one of my favorite acts ever. I thought it was very content filled. There was a lot of things to do, a lot of side quests, a lot of things to explore, and the lore was exceptional. It was just very well done, very polished. But on to Act 2, it wasn't, in my opinion, it wasn't as good as the first act. The first act took me around 30 hours to finish because I'm a completionist and I like doing every little thing. So Act 2, you play as Sally Boyle, who is a chemist. What they did for the second act is they kind of like, they gave you more things to worry about, but they give you more things to worry about and have to constantly be having in the back of your mind, while Arthur was just play. But the second act wasn't that bad. The second act was not bad at all. It just felt a little less polished and not as well done as the first act, in my opinion. But Act 3, you play as Ollie Starkley, who is a guy who was in the military, I believe, or he was in the army. In Act 3, you have to worry about so many things, and it got to the point that it was so asinine that I honestly started to hate the game so freaking much. Through the entirety of his act, Ollie had the least amount of stamina than any of the characters combined. He would run for a solid second, and his stamina would be gone already. Sally had about maybe a 3 to 4 second stamina, and Arthur had like an 8 to 9 second stamina. So the entire of Act 3, you're constantly running and stopping and running and stopping and running and stopping. And not to mention, Ollie was diabetic. So you also have to worry about his blood sugar. You had to constantly worry about whether he had high blood sugar or low blood sugar the entire fucking time, which was really damn annoying. Like I said, with Act 2, you have to worry about something, and in Act 3, you have to worry about something else that's even more annoying, which was the blood sugar. It halted a lot of the progression, and it just felt like something that they added in so that the player would take even longer to beat the game, so they felt like there was more content when there really wasn't. So that's my opinion about Ollie X. Some pros that I like about the game: it was a very good concept, a very, very, very well done concept. The idea of taking joy to forget the past so you don't relive all those sad memories was really cool. It was a very good idea. The crafting in this game was, I thought, really cool. There was a lot of things to craft. There was so many things you could just gather ingredient-wise and just make it instead of just having to find the item itself, and it just saved a lot of time and saved a lot of money, because money was something that I struggled with sometimes, but that might have just been me. But the crafting was really cool. You could make all these different kinds of clothing for different situations, which was really cool. The plethora amount of resources to make medicine instead of having to buy it over and over or just find it, it was so easy to stay healed all the time. The areas in this game are exceptionally pretty. Oh my goodness, they're so gorgeous, so colorful. One of the things that I did like about this game was that you could have a custom difficulty, which I don't see in a lot of games, which I wish a lot of games did that more. This game had a custom difficulty where you could adjust everything. So in We Happy Few, you have to worry about drinking water, eating, and all, and sleeping. You could adjust that, and you had your combat, I think it was, you had combat, conformity or something, and survival needs. I think the conformity meant like if people were more suspicious of you or less suspicious of you, basically. Some cons about this game, I have to say it's not optimized at all. Given the 4 years that it's been in development, you would think it's optimized, but I'm not a game developer, so I can't really judge, but the game was not optimized whatsoever. I have a 1070. This game should have ran perfectly 60 FPS, but it didn't. It ran like 30. It rarely got 60 FPS. It got 60 FPS in places with more foliage than areas with cities and not as much green areas and shit. I thought so highly of this game whenever I played the first act. I streamed this game and I told everybody during the first act, I was like, oh my God, buy this game. It's so good. It's amazing. And then as I said before, talking about Act 3, playing Act 3 completely changed my mind on the game. This is one of the cons. It felt like after Act 2, they completely just half-assed the rest of the game. The last like six hours of the game, they just completely half-assed it. They just pushed it together. They added having to worry about Ollie's diabetes, and they said, let's just do that. It'll make more content because it'll take longer to finish the game, and boom, we're done. There weren't that many bugs that I encountered in the game. There were a lot of people complaining about bugs and shit. I only really encountered 1 or 2. There was one where I encountered of a guy sliding off of a bench, well, I'll insert right here.
Lovely day for it.
You flirt.
Lovely day for it.
And there were some quests that were bugged, but besides that, there weren't really anything game breaking, like where it just made my game crash or I just couldn't continue on to the story. Nothing for me. I've heard some cases where people had issues. I'll insert another clip here where I was playing as Ollie and something really funny happened during a cutscene while I was talking to a guard, which I thought was just funny to put in. So this is here.
The parade of visitors for the duration.
Duration of what?
They neglected to specify, sir. But I have been specifically informed that it is...
So, the big question, is this game worth $60? No. No, definitely not no. If you're considering buying this game, I would suggest waiting until it goes to about 30 bucks. In my opinion, it should not have been put for $60. It's not worth $60. It is worth about 30, in my opinion. But that's if they don't change anything with it being how it is right now. I would say it's worth 30. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. This is a really short review because I didn't really have much to say about this game because it wasn't very a long game and I didn't really have a lot of game breaking bugs, like I said. But there were a few things I had to say about it that were really irking me and stuff. So if you like this review, make sure to leave it a thumbs up. If you care at all, I do stream on Twitch. I stream 6 days a week, Tuesday through Sunday at 10 a.m. Eastern to 5 p.m. And I do play a variety of games. I just play a little bit of everything. So if you're interested in that, please feel free to follow. And yeah, you can subscribe as well. Bye!